Hello, I'm Sam Hansen, and today I'll be talking to you about shunning in the Amish community. I'm sure everyone knows what shunning in the Amish community is. Um, when you're 16 years old in the Amish community, you go through it to decide if you want to stay with the church or if you don't want to stay with the church. If you decide that you don't want to stay with the church and abide by the church's rules, you get shunned, which means that you don't get to come back and you have no contact with your family whatsoever. To tell you a little bit about the Amish church, church does not refer to a building to the Amish, but to the people in the congregation. In some sects, there are no actual church buildings. Services are actually held at people's houses, and so therefore there can't be that many people in the church. So there's about 30 to 40 different families that are actually in that specific congregation. Church services are held every other Sunday, so that way on the Sundays that church isn't held, people can have weddings and social gatherings and other things like that, and this is called an off Sunday. So any social events like weddings, things they call barn raisings. The service actually lasts around 3 hours, and after the ceremony, lunch is served to the entire congregation in shifts. When you're not eating, you're socializing. And once the parents have left the building and left the church or the congregation, the young stay for Sunday night singing. And sometimes there they try and meet dates, dance with boys or girls, I guess. And so it's just one big social gathering once the family leaves and the young are out by themselves. And Amish shunning is the use of social exclusion as method used to enforce Amish church rules. And Amish shunning does not mean it ends all social interaction, but it does involve the sinner doing rituals that remind he or she that he did or didn't do that sin, which in turn tries to bring them back to the fellowship. So if a person goes out into the real world and tries to come back in, the family is going to do whatever it takes to show them what the consequences of his actions are. So you're not allowed to eat at the table with your family. You're not allowed to pretty much have any contact with your family. Your friends don't really want anything to do with you anymore. So it's just not a good situation. So, I mean, if you don't want to stay in the Amish community, you better just get out and be sure that you want to actually get out, because it's hard to gain that respect back. And once you are shunned, an Amish member is no longer allowed to sit at the table. So when you attend a wedding or a funeral, you must sit away from the members of the church when being served food. Members are not allowed to do business with you, so if the person that's being shunned or you're the one being shunned, but you do business with someone else, you can't do business with them. So, it could be a pretty big problem when you're trying to survive. If you rely on food from that person and you can't get food from that person, you don't eat. So, and you have to find another way to get food. A shunned member is not allowed to ride in your car. If you are on a visit to a family or a friend, the member is forbidden to ride with you, and members are not allowed to ride with their English neighbors. Members of the family are not allowed to accept anything from you. So if you're at the table and you're pouring milk or you're putting food in a bowl or on a plate and you're trying to give it to one of your family members, you have to give it to a young who has not yet put themselves in the church per se, and they can give it to your elders, such as your parent, your grandma, or something in that order, because they cannot accept it from you. They don't even want to talk to you or can't talk to you. Ways of leaving the church. There are two different ways of leaving the community: voluntary or involuntary. Involuntary, a member of the community may decide on his or her own to no longer lead an Amish lifestyle. When leaving the church after you have made vows to follow and obey the church for lifestyle, will you be breaking these vows? So that's a big no-no in the Amish community. And involuntary, if you have broken your vows of baptism by disobeying the rules of the church or flaunting the authority of your Amish leaders, which you then do not admit to the heirs, you will eventually be tossed out of the congregation. And young people who have decided not to join the church and never take baptismal vows are not candidates of the shunning. So if you're not baptized, you aren't a part of the church yet. So if you do break those vows that regular people break, or if people break once they have been baptized, you really can't be shunned because you're not a part of the church yet. Some groups, such as Schwarztruber Amish, are stricter than others. If you decide to leave before joining, church leaders might pressure your parents into making you feel as though you are unwelcome in your own home, even though you are not officially shunned. So, like, not talking, maybe not at the dinner table, not offering to scoop them food, so the person would have to get up itself. Basically just totally ignoring them and acting as if they are dead or not there. And for the family of the people being shunned, not only is it emotional for the person who is going through the shunning, but also the family. It's their loved one. How do you turn your back on someone you love so much just because they aren't obeying your church rules? And if you have been shunned and your parents still have contact with you or treat you as if you are still a part of the community, your parents and the rest of the family can face excommunication, which is a form of being shunned as well. And even though the family is supposed to act as if the shunned is no longer a part of the family, the Amish leave a back door open. And this rule is set so if you see the wrong in your errors and want to repent, you can do so spiritually and socially accepted back into the church. And to sum it up, basically, to close this discussion off about Amish shunning, shunning gives power to excommunication. If you were tossed out but you were never shunned, you are allowed to go on functioning socially in the community as if nothing had ever happened. And after the fact, church discipline would have less of an impact on you. So once you come back, and you have already seen the real world, that's not going to the church isn't going to have a big impact on you once you have seen, what else is out there. You're going to question everything the church does say you should or should not do. And Amish shunning means you are cut off and you will lose the support system that you have grown accustomed to. And once you are shunned, you must then seek support from somewhere else. So, once you're shunned, you don't have your family anymore. You don't have your friends anymore that you've known for the past 16 years. So you're going to have to go out into that real world and find new people to basically be there for you. And how hard is that? And the customs of the Amish shunning is a very effective way of enforcing church doctrine and retaining members and convincing the individuals who have gone out into the real world to come back into the community. So all in all, it's a big decision in the Amish world to decide what you should and shouldn't do when it comes to shunning. Some want to break free from that church, others want to forever be in the church with their family and their friends. I guess it's just a very hard thing to decide. I hope that gave you a little insight about the Amish shunning, and I hope you enjoyed my speech. Thank you.